In the Warsh Quran recitation, which is the second most popular qiraat after the Hafs, you have the thinness of the ra, and that's different than the Warsh. For example, you have in Hafs, the regular recitation say Bashira wa Nadira, ra. But in Warsh, you say Bashira, Nadira, because there's a ya before it or there's a kasra before it. Same thing with the ra dhamma, you say thin. And like over here, in Hafs, you say akhira, or you say akhira. Ijrami, you say in Hafs. Ijrami, you say in the Warsh. The ra and ra. See the difference between it? But there's some exceptions in the Warsh when you have the kasra before it or the ya before it. Like, for example, fi rabin, this one over here, it would be thick because it's not in the same word. You have the ya before it, but it's in two different words, so you still say it thick. And over here, same thing. B is a different word, so this one you'd say thick. It wouldn't be thin because the kasra before it is in two different words. The other exception is when you have foreign names. Normally speaking, in Warsh, the second recitation, because there's an e before it, the ra you say Israel, but because it's a foreign word, you say Israel. That's an exception. And likewise, Imran, you'd say in Warsh, not Imran, which is the normal rule because you have a e before it, and the letter in between it doesn't make a difference. And likewise, Ibrahim, that's how you'd say it in Warsh, not Ibrahim, because you have a e before it, but these are foreign words, so they're pronounced differently. They're pronounced thick in the case. And likewise, when you have a repetition of the ra, the exception is you pronounce it thick. Midorora. Normally speaking, in the Warsh recitation, not the Hafs recitation, keep that in mind, you would say midara because the e is before it, but because you have a repetition, midorora and firora, example, and dirora. You have those. That's how you say it in the Warsh, not fira and dira, because you have the ra repeated after that. But also, ra is a thick letter afterwards, so that's another rule that you have. And that's the other exception. When you have a thick letter before it or after the ra, then you have to pronounce it thick. So over here, i'radhan, normally speaking, you say i'ra because you have e before it, because there's a dod after the thick letter, pronounce it thick. And sirata, though normally speaking, it would be thin, sira, but because there's a thick letter after, you say sirata. And likewise, if there's a thick letter before it, say wikra, not wikra, and kitara, not kitara. So that's what you have. But normally speaking, you would say ra, not the ra. And this is in the Warsh recitation. And Allah knows best, and may peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.